Good afternoon. My name is Mike Shrader. I'm one of our vice presidents of sales. Um, uh, Harvey Morrison is the co-founder and CEO of Marion Square. I'm going to talk to them what Marion Square is and explain why they're partnering with us to help educate the room and the folks online today. Marion Square, in partnership with Carahsoft, seeks to enable a lot of our emerging technology clients to build successful government businesses. As I've built my role and career here at Carahsoft, I've been a big champion of ingesting lots of the emerging tech companies into our ecosystem that can, as Craig mentioned, leverage our resources and support to help gain a foothold in the market and to seize some of the opportunity that's out there for with connecting with government customers with the hard problems they're trying to solve through technology. We've, again, in partnership with Marion Square, aligned some of those emerging tech companies with their sets of capabilities and resources to advise them. They bring a wealth of government sales experience, government expertise. They offer a market assessment service, as well as a host of other advisory services helping emerging tech companies gain a foothold in the market. So welcome Harvey here to join us.
Thanks very much for having me. It's been this is my second year doing this, so it's a great conference, and I really appreciate the partnership.
And our chat today, we're going to talk a little bit about why emerging tech is important for our government audiences. Specifically, Rob mentioned the focus our government is going to have on national security in the coming years, and the appetite for technology to solve the hardest problems that our country is facing. Obviously, it's important that this is a viable market for lots of the innovation coming out of not just Silicon Valley, but from around the world. And then Harvey's going to talk a little bit about how he advises lots of the emerging tech companies that we partner on, how to go to market, how to use marketing to to bring in innovation to the right sets of customers, leveraging a strategic mindset towards activities and building a strategy around a set of activities with some expected ROIs. In the short, medium, and long term. These are not meant to be activities solely focused. We're not suggesting that you should focus on one set of activities, but weight your investment towards the expected set of outcomes based off where you are with your government business. And then we'll sum up here at the end. But I'll let Harvey take this one on.
Yeah, on bringing innovation to market. And this can be emerging technology companies that we do a lot of work with. It can also be a large organization that's bringing a new innovative technology into the market. But we really like to talk to clients about taking really a multi-tiered approach or multi-tiered strategy, both your sales and your marketing motions. The objective of the strategy is to access short-term potential revenue, short-term potential past performance, because as you all know, when you sell to government, they always want to know who else is using it. So it's really great to have that sort of first win in the box, or first tick in the box. So how do you identify those types of opportunities where you can go and potentially get a quick win to say you're working with the government? Secondly, we always like to champion working with partners. If you look at the long term and a lot of the large enterprise deals that are out there, they're not designed for a small company to lead and to manage and to do the whole process themselves. It's really, we bring a team of folks together, which will include potentially an SI, maybe a couple of software vendors, and you bring an overall solution to the market. So you've got to get yourself known in that ecosystem. So as teams start to get built, you can be a part of that team. And then lastly, how do you effectively build on that short-term and medium-term activity to then set yourself up for larger enterprise types of opportunities? So that's how we like to take a look at it from a go-to-market perspective. So if you just think about it, from a mindset perspective, as you put your go-to-market together, start to think about sort of the foundational understanding of the target market and what's required. So, from a marketing perspective, we have conversations with clients all the time. It's really hard to market to the entire federal government. So we always like to start our work with clients based upon Where should you really be targeting your limited set of resources to get the highest likelihood of a positive outcome? And you can almost, if you do the research right, you can almost take it down to where you can do almost an account-based marketing sort of an approach. Hey, we want to target these programs inside of these specific agencies with these specific message or this specific message versus, hey, just do an ad and let the whole federal government know about me. It's if you're much more, focused, thoughtful, even surgical with how you do this, I think the return is going to be greater, but it all starts with understanding the market and where you really should be targeting. Conduct these activities in parallel. We're going to talk short, medium, and long term, but you really should be thinking about them in parallel. Don't do one and then do the next and then do the next, or you're going to be behind. But think about how you can do these things in parallel. Really not a phase type approach. And then the last bullet there, don't be afraid to step out and do new things. Now I'll caveat that with do the research so that the new things aren't a total just, hey, we're going to throw something against the wall and see if it sticks. But do your research, but then don't be afraid to engage and do things. And as you saw from the earlier presentation that Caitlin and Craig gave, there's a lot of resources and a lot of marketing activity that you can engage your Carahsoft team with. Take advantage of those things. That's a good, low-cost, low-risk way to really try some of these marketing events or marketing activities to get a return on it. If you were doing this on your own, there'd be a much more significant investment, and if it wasn't right, the bet would really hurt you. But if you can leverage Carahsoft and all the things they have going on, it's a great way to sort of place a wide array of bets and get a really good return on them. If you think about, so we'll start to talk about some of the strategies then from a short-term perspective. Identify and pursue, as Craig had mentioned, government really is trying to reach out and work with companies. Every one of the agencies out there has some sort of innovation program, whether it's, the Air Force SBIR program. There are 11 agencies that do SBIRs. There's BAAs that are out there. DHS&T runs a lot of programs. See if you can find those types of programs and start to engage with those. And then there's other, activities.
Right. So you'll hear about some activities throughout the day, and we try to map out with each one of these categories some resources that this Carahsoft ecosystem can help provide. Obviously, the research on the CIBR and other innovation programs. Lots of these organizations hold events that we recommend becoming members and joining. We'll pass along anything we learn from attending. I mentioned the consortium membership and participation, market analysis. So we really work on mapping your messaging to the requirements and initiatives and the policy as Rob just presented on, and then proposal efforts into these targeted innovation programs. Or there's a pretty health. There's an equation to getting awarded a CIBR program or an innovation project, and a lot can go right with having your marketing organization participate in your proposal efforts towards some of these.
Yeah, just one comment there, that the best way or the quickest way to fail on these things is to just staple your data sheet to a piece of paper and send it in. The government really wants to see how you're solving a problem for them or how you're relating to an initiative that they've got. So doing that upfront research is going to make the work you do there much more effective. From a medium term perspective, this is where maybe we're pursuing these innovation programs, but now we're out talking to some of the early adopters. So do your research to understand which agencies have the key initiatives that fit with where you're at, and go to their industry days and talk to those folks. Start to identify some of the systems integrators that are in the space that maybe have won other contracts that you're going to want to introduce yourself to. So, think about that more from a medium term, from a return on investment perspective.
Yeah, and so some of the activities, they're going to talk about trade shows and events later on today. There's a whole ecosystem of events that we can help you gain access to if you end up working a innovation project with SOCOM. A good example, or the SOF community. We're a big sponsor of SOF Week, and we encourage you to attend events like that and get your get your project socialized and get talking to real customers that own the requirements. Tactical marketing projects, the webinars and into your target audience as you get to know them are a good idea. Obviously, better together is going to be a big theme throughout today, but identify your better together partners and technology alliances, and structure some activity around telling joint solutions. Research the SIs and primes that hold the contracts and are running capture efforts or program incumbency efforts. Get aligned with those teams and educate them on your capabilities. And then obviously, Craig mentioned the verticals. Get positioned in the verticals that we're looking to take to market and participate in the different activities that our vertical teams are carrying out to market.
Just two comments on the events. If you're a vendor and you're going to an event and you're not leveraging Carahsoft if they're at the event, it's a total waste of time and dollars. I don't know how many events I go to, and hey, we're some small vendor and we bought a booth and they put us all the way in the back by the bathroom, and people have to be looking for us to find us. But when you walk in, Carahsoft probably to the right or to the left has the prime position with a huge banner and lots of people coming through that booth. So if you really want to do something good from that perspective and get a good return on those things, leverage what Carahsoft is doing and be in their booths or try to get into their booths at those events. And the second thing I would mention is don't just stand in the booth and wait for folks to come by. Actually attend the events that are going on, because a lot of these agencies at these events are going to tell you, this is what our plans are for next year. I don't know how many times we've gone and the sales team has stood in the booth for 3 days, hasn't walked away from the booth. I mean, leverage Carahsoft and their team there to help you to free up to go to some of these events and actually listen to what the government's saying. It'll help you in your research as you develop your go-to-market. And then lastly, leverage your short-term and your long-term pursuits, as we've talked about. So now you're positioning yourself for these enterprise-wide solicitations that are going to come out. So then you can kind of check the box. Hey, we've got past performance. We won this innovation program with this agency. You can check, hey, we know these systems integrators, so when they go to build a team, we can be on their team. So now when the RFP comes out, you've done all this pre-work, and now you're ready to actually be a participant in these large enterprise opportunities.
And this is where you're looking to build on your brand, build on your sets of expertise. This is where we encourage broad participation across the big bets programs you're going to hear about. Not that there's not room for innovation and emerging technology to participate tactically throughout our big bets programs, but broad participation to get your brand built and brand advanced is sort of with this longer term ROI mindset. Broad event participation, that you got to get your teams out at seemingly every event. You got to leverage, invest in sponsorships, and then practitioner engagements as you build an install base and you make your customers successful. Look to leverage marketing resources to host and run trainings, user groups, workshops, partner enablements, newsletters, lots of marketing resources and activities to help engage your customers using the technology. So to sum up the category, and as we mentioned, we're not proposing a phased approach. Obviously, it's more of a weighted approach. So early on, you probably are going to want to plan most of your investment around the short-term ROI, lists of activities and approaches to gain some of those quick wins. Not to say webinars and attending trade shows can't happen right off the bat as well. As that evolves, you're going to want to evolve your strategy as you build a customer base. Focus more on those short, medium, and long-term activities that are going to help you advance your brand and generate more of customer community. But build relevant content around government use cases. Work with Carahsoft to plan your investment in these activities in that phased approach. I mentioned evolve the strategy over time as you earn customers and advance your brand. And then we coined the term "start smart marketing" today. Craig uses the adage, which I think is really applicable. The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is today, right? So don't be afraid to jump in and start to educate this audience and this community of customers who have a need for what you do and what you're bringing to market. But as Harvey mentioned earlier, don't do it with your eyes blindfolded and arms tied behind your back. Seek a foundational understanding of who your target audience should be, what drives them, what are the policy initiatives they're making decisions based off of, what's in the budget, what is being written into budgets, 2 or 3 cycles out. So get as smart as possible, but don't be afraid to jump into the activity in the immediate term. So thank you very much.
Thank you.